The early sunlight quietly touched the faded stone rooftops of Alberobello village. Dew still lingered on the grass. We left the village, rifles at the ready, walking slowly past the rosemary bushes along the path. Last night, wild boars had once again torn apart a field of young corn at the forest's edge. No one in the village slept in peace. Each harvest season here was a struggle, and we could no longer stand by watching them wreak havoc. Inside the forest, the wind blew gently. Click! The rifles were unlocked. The hunt had begun for the fields and for the peaceful sleep of the entire village. Come along with us on this journey. We followed the winding hoof prints from the last cornfield all the way to the forest's edge. The sun was just rising, golden light stretching across the damp, cold air. The silence was so deep that even the crunch of our boots on dry earth echoed. Sensing boars ahead in the thick grass, John said nothing. He straightened, raised his rifle, an instinct he had mastered long ago. The scope locked on. Breath held, trigger squeezed. A clean, decisive shot from a seasoned hunter. The beast stumbled, rolled once, and lay still. We advanced quietly, following a familiar path to the old watchtower we had built on a previous trip. Everything remained intact, enough for the group to settle without making a sound. We waited in silence, watching. As predicted by one of our most experienced hunters, a herd of wild boars emerged from the bushes. A shot rang out from John's rifle. The bullet cut through the air, striking the alpha boar dead on, ending its destruction in an instant. The herd panicked, scattering into the deep woods. From experience, hunters know boars usually hide deep in thick bushes, but once driven out by hounds, they have no choice but to appear. John and I set up at an old trail heavy with signs, ready for action. It didn't take long before a boar poked its snout out of the brush, mud still clinging to its legs. I fired immediately. The bullet struck its shoulder, bringing it down. Target secured. The group rested after a long chase through the dense forest. Tracks led us into the dry woods. Harsh sunlight, brittle fallen leaves everywhere. Every step echoed with a sharp crunch. I gripped my rifle tightly, ears straining. Another herd seemed to be nearby. The bushes trembled, then a boar charged straight at us. John didn't flinch. He chambered around, squeezed the trigger. The bullet flew through the air and struck true. A perfect shot. Breathtaking, wasn't it? At the same moment, Jack on the opposite side was locked onto another target. He calculated distance, speed, and angle, then fired. The threat was gone, and the harvest secured. Only a veteran hunter with such experience could execute shots that clean. From a distance, we spotted a lone boar wandering across the dry leaves, unaware of us. I steadied my rifle, eyes fixed through the scope. My breath slowed, finger tightened. The bullet sliced through the air, dropping the intruder instantly. As dusk fell, we decided to head home after an exhausting day. Suddenly, a boar burst out from the field. Without hesitation, we fired. quick reflexes, deadly accuracy, not a single miss. A cold, flawless execution worthy of true hunters. And with that, another tense and dangerous hunt came to an end. After the harvest, cornfields are littered with kernels dropped by the combine harvester. For wild boars, it's a feast. They come to gorge themselves on these leftovers, a precious source of fat for the winter. And that's also the golden opportunity for hunters to strike. But will the hunt go as planned? Let's find out together. The plan had been carefully discussed, positions assigned with precision. Dressed in hunting gear, boots laced tight, rifles double-checked, we together with our most elite hunting dogs were ready. At dawn, the chilly air was so still we could hear the wind whispering through dry stalks. As planned, we used the harvester's engine noise to flush the boars out from their hiding place. And then they came. An entire herd burst out like a raging flood. Holding our breath, we focused on the racing shadows, pulling the trigger in rapid succession. The alpha boar was hit and went down, The hunting dogs, like arrows loosed from a bow, immediately rushed in and locked down the target. We hurried to the nearby grassland, where the massive boar was cornered by the dogs. The tension was razor sharp. I carefully aimed, making sure not to endanger our four-legged allies. Boom! The beast collapsed, ending its struggle. The dogs were released again as we strained to catch the faintest sound. The tension was chilling. Even the rustle of a single dry leaf made us flinch. And there they were. Two intruders, flushed out by the dogs, ran straight into my sights. Two quick, precise shots rang out. One boar went down, but still had enough strength to dash into the corn for cover. The team chased it relentlessly, pushing the beast into the open with the dogs. As the fat boar burst out of the cornfield, I intercepted it. Boom! Another hit. But it still sprinted desperately for survival. I knew it couldn't run far. Following quietly, I found it collapsed in a thick patch of grass. Another threat eliminated, peace restored, at least for now. By noon, the sun blazed down, sweat soaking through our hunting gear. After a short rest, we decided to expand into the nearby dry grasslands. This time, we used a pincer tactic, one group driving, the other, including me, ambushing key trails. It didn't take long. From a distance, the herd came stampeding toward the path I was guarding. I fired quickly. One large boar dropped instantly while the rest scattered. With no way out, they barreled straight into the ambush where James and Finn were waiting. I alerted them via radio. Just as planned, the ones heading toward James and Finn were swiftly neutralized. But the real challenge came from the last two in the herd. As they bolted onto the trail, we aimed and unleashed a deafening volley. But the cunning beasts managed to slip into the grasslands and escape. Still, with our teammates tightening the encirclement, their fate was sealed. Suddenly, furious barking erupted from a nearby thicket. My heart pounded again. Gripping my rifle, I kept my eyes locked on the spot, knowing the enemy could charge at any moment. And it did. A massive boar exploded from the brush, charging straight at me in rage. In that split second, hesitation had no place. I pulled the trigger. The beast collapsed at my feet. Its final charge ended forever, closing a dramatic day of hunting. Cold sweat ran down my back as I exhaled 1 second slower, and I don't dare imagine the outcome. The return was exhausting, yet every heart was filled with pride and relief. It was a successful hunt, not just in trophies, but in safeguarding the farmland's peace. Nightfall draped the land, campfire flames flickering against the determined faces of our team. At dawn, we would set out. This wild hog hunt was more than just seasonal, it was a vow. Just the day before, the lead boar had raided the village, taking the life of Brian's loyal hunting dog, a battle-hardened companion. A dark omen: if we hesitated or showed mercy, our village and fields would be ravaged. We, the young hunters, chose to rise, not only to protect our home, but to seek justice and honor the bravery of our four-legged friend who gave everything. The fierce battle was about to begin. Our team moved into the tangerine grove, where the sweet scent of ripe fruit mingled with the cool, damp air, creating the perfect trap. We had reports that a large group of wild boars was gathered here. My heart pounded as a familiar rustling broke the silence. It wasn't the wind, it was purposeful, powerful movement. I closed my eyes, took a deep breath, then quietly followed the rows of tangerines. Suddenly, a massive shadow burst into view. Without hesitation, I squeezed the trigger. Bang! The shot shattered the stillness. The beast skidded across the ground before collapsing. A perfect first shot, a strong start to today's hunt. Soon after, the hunting dogs were released, tearing through the orchard, while our team set up an ambush along the trail. Everyone was hopeful for a big haul. Our weapons were state-of-the-art, after all. Then, suddenly dozens of massive dark shapes burst out from thick bushes, charging across the path. It all happened in a blur. Our hunting team panicked, guns raised, and firing relentlessly at the boar herd. Shots rang out in rapid succession. We gave it everything we had, but not a single one went down. They were too fast, splitting up and scattering in all directions. The hunt had entered a new, far tougher chapter. Refusing to give up, Kevin headed east, Jack moved west, while James and I took the south and north. The team quickly spread out, fueled by determination for revenge. Plan B quickly kicked in. To the east, Kevin intercepted the lead boar as it charged toward the road, desperate to escape danger. But Kevin was waiting there, calm and focused. He locked onto his target, steadied his aim, and took it down with a perfectly placed shot. Meanwhile, near where we had parked and stored today's trophies, Jack heard hurried footsteps. Instantly, he took his position. The boar charged like a bullet. Jack squeezed the trigger decisively. The target dropped right in the middle of the path. What do you think of this shot? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Meanwhile, on our side, James and I continued tracking the herd's trail. We were certain they would pass through here on their escape route. Stay patient, I told James. This time, we were determined not to fail. We waited in ambush, ready as heavy footsteps grew louder. The herd appeared. Dark shapes surged forward, their numbers overwhelming us. Both barrels fired simultaneously, and the lead boar dropped instantly. We stayed calm, pushing to take down as many as possible. The second shot rang out. James squeezed the trigger, quickly bringing down the next target. We had avenged and restored justice for our fallen four-legged friend. This was today's final target, claimed by Kevin. Meanwhile, our pack of hunting dogs was hot on the trail of a wild boar. The sharp barking signaled the target was closing in. The boar burst out from the bushes like a bullet, desperate to escape the chase. Kevin fired, but the boar kept running. Two quick, precise shots rang out. He took the animal down. It slammed hard onto the fields, sliding across the dirt. Kevin shouted in triumph, "Bravo!" That shot sealed the deal, wrapping up an outstanding day of hunting for the whole team. After the fierce battle, the gunfire fell silent, leaving only the quiet calm of the orchard. The ruthless lead boar lay defeated. The fight was over. We had avenged Brian, the villagers, and our brave four-legged friend. Looking at the tangerines still hanging on the branches, we knew peace had returned. From now on, the village could rest a little easier. The war with the wild boars is far from over. Don't forget to hit follow and join us for more thrilling hunting adventures ahead. On the sun-scorched grasslands, where the wind whirls up layers of red dust along dirt roads, local villagers are struggling against the destruction brought by herds of wild boars. They storm into farms, plowing through crops in a single night, leaving behind nothing but ruin. That's why today we set out off-road vehicles and rifles ready for a life-and-death confrontation. What kind of fierce encounters will this unforgiving wilderness throw at us? Let's find out in the journey ahead. Still seated in the truck, we suddenly spotted a reckless target dashing across the field ahead. Within mere seconds, the shot rang out. The beast collapsed instantly. Too fast, too dangerous. An explosive start, foreshadowing that today's hunt would be anything but simple. We decided to get off the vehicle, moving silently so as not to startle any boars still hiding nearby. But as soon as I stepped into position, a massive black figure suddenly charged straight toward me as if to attack. There was no time to hesitate. My fingers squeezed the trigger. The bullet tore through the air, striking the beast's body. It staggered, thrashed, and finally lay still. We wasted no time and pressed on, following every trace of the crop-raiding beasts. Suddenly, the team leader ahead raised his hand, silence. Before him stood a massive wild boar, its eyes glinting with a defiant challenge. He advanced slowly, fearless. When the distance was reduced to just a few steps, he raised his rifle and ended it cleanly. That's the fate of those who dare to stand defiant before the cold barrel of a hunter's gun. After dealing with that target, we received a signal from the southeast. Boar spotted. The whole team rushed over. Since the distance was great, one member quickly took out his scoped rifle, carefully locking on. The boar, busy foraging, had no idea it was already in the crosshairs. Bang! The shot cracked loudly, the bullet piercing its mark. The beast collapsed instantly, never even getting a chance to flee. From another direction, a teammate suddenly shouted. I spun around instinctively, rifle raised, tracking the sprinting target tearing across the ground. Pow! Another bullet fired. In the blink of an eye, the beast was subdued completely. What do you think? Doesn't this speed and accuracy deserve to be our team's pride? And headed out toward the highway, a dark shadow suddenly streaked across my path. You won't escape. I thought. Without a second thought, I raised my rifle, finger tightening on the trigger. The bullet sliced through the air, hitting its side and sending it crashing into the dry earth. Despite struggling, it no longer had the strength to run. Tonight, the villagers would sleep in peace. The hunt ended with well-earned results. Everything was carried out within legal boundaries, strictly following local hunting regulations. Not only had we eliminated the destroyers of crops, but we also brought reassurance and a good night's rest to the people here. On a hill west of the village, our hunting crew gathered around the campfire, gearing up for the biggest challenge yet. Lucas, the seasoned hunter now retired, shared tales of the fierce, cunning wild hogs that had torn through fields and left even the most legendary marksmen empty-handed. They bred relentlessly, wreaking havoc for years, becoming the nightmare of the entire region. Though we had high-tech gear at our fingertips, we knew this hunt wouldn't be easy. But this wasn't just a challenge, it was a duty to protect our homeland. As night fell, the battle helicopter took to the skies, its spotlight cutting through the darkness. The hunt had begun, and we were determined to reclaim peace for the village. At dawn, we boarded the helicopter and took off. Watching us, Lucas called out, "Bring back as many hogs as you can. Take care." Of course. Have you ever witnessed an aerial hog sweep before? Don't take your eyes off the screen. We're about to show you right now. Our crew flew low over the village fields, the helicopter's roar grabbing the attention of every creature below. Right then, a hog stepped into our sights. The chopper's noise had done its job, flushing it out of hiding. Leaning out the door, I locked onto the target. It was charging like a lightning bolt, but not for me. I squeezed the trigger. Boom. The bullet flew fast, matching its speed, and dropped it dead. Taking down the first target fired up the whole team's fighting spirit. Our helicopter moved toward the field bordering the forest. Just as expected, hogs were pouring out, wreaking havoc. Below us was a whole herd. Could this be the very group Lucas warned us about? I tightened my grip on the rifle. There was no way we'd let them get away. Take down every single one. The first target was quickly in my sights. I squeezed the trigger from the air, and the hog dropped fast. Next up, the second one. 2 shots later, it lay motionless on the ground, but the rest of the herd scattered quickly. It's tough to wipe out a whole pack with just a burst of gunfire. But we didn't give up. After a quick strategy check with James, we slowed the helicopter down, hovering low over the thick brush. I was sure the herd was hiding here, and as planned, we throttled down the engines to spook the wild hogs out. Just as expected, one hog appeared. "That's our target." James' voice crackled over the radio. Even though it was just one, you could hear the excitement in his tone. When the hog dashed into the open ground, a series of sharp, deliberate shots rang out cold and precise. The hog dropped on the spot. We kept the helicopter gliding through the air. Up ahead, the herd panicked and scattered, with one massive beast standing out, a giant around 200 pounds, the main target of the hunt. Careful aim, steady breath, and the shot was almost perfect. The giant hog collapsed, the ground shaking, dust rising in a cloud, closing a tense moment. Our team's resolve was clear. We wanted to show Lucas that even the Gen Z hunters could carry on his legacy and protect the crops. Over on this side, Jack and Mark were closing in on a target. The helicopter tilted gently, circling above the hog. Startled by the sudden noise, the wild hog panicked and bolted. Mark stayed calm, lined up the shot through his scope, and pulled the trigger decisively. The bullet quickly took down the prey. Today's hunt was overwhelmingly in our favor. With high-tech gear and precision teamwork, nothing seemed able to stand in our way. Today was definitely going smoothly. Over the radio, James signaled, "Wild hog herd spotted." Quickly, I loaded my rifle. Through the helicopter window, I took aim, held my breath, squeezed the trigger. Fast and flawless. One down, then two. We had taken a heavy toll on the herd during today's hunt. We were doing great, proving to Lucas that the Gen Z hunters still had what it takes. This land, these fields, this life, we're here to protect them all, no matter what. The sun was fading as our team decided to sweep one last time before heading back. While scanning from above, we spotted one final hog, the last target of the day. Without hesitation, I took the shot. The hog dropped, restoring peace to the village and closing out today's hunt. The helicopter touched down on a clearing near the hill's base, the engine slowly winding down. Lucas had been waiting for us all along. Seeing the trophies we brought back, he couldn't hide his surprise and respect. After a firm handshake, he smiled and said, "Well done, boys." But the journey isn't over. There's no way we can wipe out all the hogs in just one day. Tomorrow, we'll be back out there again. Follow us on our next hunt. And don't forget to give us a like and subscribe.